Welcome to this video and thank you so much for joining me. For those new to this video series, this is a follow-up from my previous series on how to build an home server with enterprise parts. And technically this is not a server, it's a workstation. I know that, and I want you guys to know that, but I am using server parts. I'm using Xenon processors. I've got 2 of them in there, and I'm using a workstation motherboard, but I'm also using high-end server RAM, and I've got about 48 gigs I think of RAM in there. So anyway, I'm not an expert. Let me just stipulate that out the gate. I'm not an expert on networking and server building. I've actually spent a lot of time on my own building my own home computer, and for my work I do mess around with Linux. But I'm by no means a Linux expert. So that being said, I decided Christmas of last year, after buying an 8 terabyte hard drive for my QNAP NAS, that QNAP's use of storage was not working for me. Adding 8 terabytes did virtually nothing for my storage problems. So I went and I discovered Unraid, and Unraid handles storage very differently. And I really liked the way they did it. I was able to get a lot of storage. Basically, I'm able to put in as many drives as I want, and it only requires a parity drive in order to create a backup system for it. So I watched YouTube channels by Bite My Bits and Space Invader 1, and I took the plunge. I bought a Unraid Pro, and I started loading it up with a bunch of Dockers, and it's worked really well. I have Plex installed, I have AirSonic installed, I have Nextcloud installed, I have Resilio Sync, which used to be BitTorrent Sync. This video is kind of a follow-up to that video, and what I'm now going to do is I'm going to focus on 10 gigabit networking. I bought a 10 gigabit Melanix card during the Christmas time holiday, and this card was like 16 bucks. I only bought one card because I thought that the price would never go up. The price is now $35. So just on the sheer morality of it, I'm not buying it until it goes back to around $16. So until that happens, I'm going to start building everything else I need, and I'm going to connect on this video my server to that 10 gigabit port and get things rolling so that once I get my computer up and running, that's ready to go. The important things to know is I went to YouTube and I found a video by F-Stoppers on how they went to 10 gigabit. Was way expensive, partially because they were using a Synology computer, NAS, and of course I'm using Unraid, so that's a completely different thing. And they were building a server using server parts. So I was able to, because I'm got my own server parts, I'm able to save a lot more. And that video wasn't really helpful. What was really helpful to me was another video I found by Craft Computing, and all the links are going to be in the description. And the great thing about Craft Computing is that he goes into great details about what it is that he bought, and he provides links to those items. I was able to find those items, but most of them were out of stock. Some of them were more expensive on Amazon, and I actually instead went to eBay and found them a lot cheaper. One of the things that I bought, the first thing out, is a new switch. I now have a Mellanox switch, which is, MikroTik, a MikroTik switch. He uses a MikroTik switch with 3 SFP plus ports. This one has 2, but it has RJ45 regular Ethernet ports for all of my other systems. And if I can find it and the price goes down for a 4 port SFP plus, I'll just connect it to this one. This thing seems perfectly fine. Hopefully it works really well. By the way, SFP plus is different from SFP. That's an important distinction to make for those of you who end up trying to do the same thing that I'm doing. What's important is looking at the video is exactly how you plan on networking the computer to the server, right? You have either an SFP cable that you can use, SFP plus cable you can use, or you can use a multi-link cable, which I will provide. Again, I'll go through it on the video. It's very interesting. There are different types, and affordability, of course, is the biggest factor. For me, this seemed like the cheapest option. I'm using a monoprice cable. And with that monoprice cable, I've got this. This is the adapter that you need. You need one for, of course, both sides, because this will take this multi-link adapter and make it into an SFP plus cable, or an SFP plus. It will allow it to fit into an SFP plus. So I am going to begin working on that, and then on the next video I'll have that hooked up, and I'll see if there's any performance increase. Now, got a good deal. I think I paid $16 or something like that, 16, 17 bucks. And this is what the cable looks like, and this is what it looks like with the cable attached. Okay, so this cable is going to go into the MetroTik switch. On one end, the other end is going to go to my server at which is about, like I say, 50 feet away, probably a little bit less, but no problem having some slack. And hopefully I'll be getting 10 gigabit performance, or at least a better performance than what I'm getting right now. So we'll see. Let's take a look. Okay, guys, this is a quick follow-up to my last video. In the last video, I set up the monoprice with the FinTech adapter with the monoprice optical fiber optic cable, and connected everything to the MetroTik switcher, and I got bupkis, nothing. So this is a quick update. I don't know exactly how I'm going to proceed. The first thing I've done, one of the problems with this setup, in my view, as I've seen it, is there's so many parts. There's the cable, there's the card, there's the switch, and then there are these adapters that go on the cable. The fault line could be any one of those four things. The other thing is that particularly with SFP plus, apparently one of the things is that certain brands won't work with other brands. My feeling is that the first thing to eliminate from the mixture to make sure that it is not faulty is the cable. So I have contacted Monoprice, and they have sent me and are sending me now a new fiber optic cable. That's going to be the first thing I'm going to do, and see if that ends up being the problem. If that's not the problem, then the other thing is going to be the Melanix card is going to be faulty, either faulty or it's not going to be compatible. I find it hard to believe that that card is not compatible with the MetroTik switch, although I seem to recall reading somewhere that there may be compatibility issues. But the Melanix card, I believe, is probably the most compatible card out of them all, from what I've seen. So that's basically where I'm at. So I will update this video once I get the new cable, and once I figure out what the problem is and how to get it working. So see you in the next video.